So, I am reaching into the deepest chasms of my mind for reasons why anybody in their right mind would buy a Canon 6D Mark II instead of a Sony A7 III. I'm reaching here, but there's reasons. Sure, the Sony camera's a super cyborg that could kill anybody. Anything the Sony sees, it can kill. Oh God, is it getting close? Oh no. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about the 7 reasons, legitimate reasons why you should consider buying the 6D Mark II instead of the Sony A7 III. Oh my God, let's do it.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
Okay, first of all, when Sony announced the A7 III, every other camera company must have just been like looking at each other like, oh no, oh no. Like every camera that's been announced since then is just, it seems embarrassing. It's like, oh shit. This was especially embarrassing for Canon. I just picture a Canon rep, he's on stage, he's like, and we have the 6D Mark II, 1080p, 60p, what's that? The codec? No, it's not the best codec we have. It's not as good as the ADD, but it's pretty good. No, you can't see details of leaves in the trees, but you can make out some of the branches. Just don't film trees, you loser. It's not a tree camera, you loser. And then Sony came on stage and they're just like, A7 III, bitch. 4K, backside illuminated. 2000. What are you gonna do, Canon? And the Canon guy was just like, trying to erase the price of the Canon 6D, because let's face it, at launch, they're both $2,000. And looking at the spec sheet, it's like, wow, that's embarrassing. But let's talk about the reasons why you would still buy a 6D Mark II. Let's give little Canon a chance. Little cripply Canon. So let's get the obvious one out of the way first. The number one reason to buy a 6D Mark II instead of the Sony? The fully articulating screen. I wish every camera had this, or an option to have it. Flip up, flip down, whatever you want to, just let me see myself. Put a little LCD on the front of the grip or something. Let me see and frame. Okay, there we go. Because if I want to bring in somebody, oh look, a cartoon man. If I want to kill a cartoon man like I just did, it helps to be able to see the framing for that. And it's not just the framing, it's the exposure as well. Sure, my highlights may be blown. I like to blow me some highlights, but it just helps so much to be able to see yourself. And if you don't have that, eventually you're gonna have to buy the monitor that adds to the bulk and the cost. So it's like, Canon did it right. And not only does their screen fully articulate it, it's much better quality as well. It's higher resolution, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's a touch screen that actually works with like all the menus and stuff. It functions better. You tap on your face, it follows you around. It's much better implemented. So the screen is the number one reason. It fully articulates, it's higher quality, it's bigger, maybe? Don't quote me on anything I say. I haven't looked it up. It's better though. The second reason to buy the 6D Mark II, it's more flattering to the face. You will look healthier and more attractive in the Canon camera. That's just a fact. If you look at Dave Dugdale, he did a bunch of comparisons. He's comparing the Canon to the Sony A7R III or II. And yes, the Sony is far superior. It's sharper, has more detail, it's better in every way except the human face, which is what I focus on. That's what I film most of the time. So for vloggers and personalities just wanting to talk to the camera, you're gonna look healthier on the 6D. That's just a fact. It's not as sharp. It doesn't render every pore in your face. It doesn't show every zit. So it's just a more attractive look. Canon knows that. It's like, we don't want to make you look like a gargoyle. We love you and we care about you. So if you're filming yourself mainly, the Canon is the better option. If you're filming nature and you actually want to see the grass blowing in the wind, Canon doesn't even recognize it. It all just looks like snakes dancing. You'll never know. So it depends what you're shooting. Shoot yourself, shoot with the Canon. The third reason to get the Canon is it's cheaper now. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look. When the Canon was first announced, it was $2,000. That's the same price as the Sony. Actually, the Sony's $1 cheaper. You can buy a fruity fruit pop. Don't buy it. But Canon wised up. They're like, okay, I see you, Sony. You just ruined our lives, but I raise you $400. Take that. And a free battery grip. We had 10,000 of them in the gift shop. We need to get rid of them. So $400 cheaper, and the Sony does not come with a battery charger. You're gonna want that. That's like an extra $100, I think. So $500 cheaper. You can buy a sweet ass lens with that, which we will get to. But it is cheaper now. Canon wised up is the cheaper decision. So if you're a poor loser who doesn't have $500 to spare, go with that Canon. This ties in with reason number 4 to buy the 6D, is the lenses are also cheaper and better. So this factors into factor number 3 with the price. But if we're looking at lenses here, say you're a vlog type of person, you want a wide angle lens. What do we got here? What do we got? I've been researching lenses like crazy because I am considering getting both of these cameras. I'm considering getting one or the other. And for the Sony, it seems like this is one of the best vlogging lenses. 18mm, super wide. It's not the fastest, but who gives a flying raccoon shit? But $1,400. That's a $1,400 lens. If you go to the Canon side, slightly less wide, faster, so much cheaper, half the price. Now, I don't know if this is even a good lens, but just judging by the specs here, you got yourself a winner. Say you want to go a little less wide, 25mm f2, this is a decent lens, $1,000, $199. Go to the Canon side, similar, faster, cheaper. Wow. So already we're seeing Canon advantage. Now things start to even out a little when you get to the 28mm f2. This is a good lens, 448, and it's pretty light. It's actually lighter than the Canon equivalent. It's a little faster on the Canon, but it's a little more expensive and it's a little heavier. And 28 is still not wide enough. Reason number 5 to get the Canon, and I know I'm reaching here. I'm trying to not only comfort those who have already bought a 6D Mark II, they bought it and then the Sony was announced, they're like, oh no, why Mom? Why'd you buy that for me? I'm trying to comfort these people, and just the people who are deciding, it's like, maybe I want Canon, I still have Canon lenses, I want to get Canon. Is it good? Is there any justifiable reason for it? This is a little controversial, but let's hash it out. The stabilization. Hear me out. Sony A7 III has in-body stabilization, which is technically better than the Canon's electronic loser stabilization, but I will say this. I've seen the handheld footage, and to my eyes, the Canon looks more stable. Regardless. The Sony in-body, if you're just like, this is your life and you're panning, look at that flamingo. There he goes. Okay, the Sony will do all right, but if you're walking and talking, the Sony sucks for that. Absolutely crap. And the Canon, for some reason, even though it's digital and it does crop in a little bit, so you lose some resolution, but it looks better. It looks more stable. And if you do the enhanced stabilization, which crops in to like here. It's like terrible. It's a tiny little 1-inch sensor by that point. But that is like glide cam smoothage. It's just good. Like if you're walking, you would need like a 2mm lens to vlog with because it crops in so much, but it's really smooth. So just in the odd case that you need to, oh, I'm gonna walk and show this, even though it doesn't render any details of the earth with that crappy sensor and the crappy codec. But if stabilization is your main goal in life, it is better. So there's that. Reason number 6, the autofocus is slightly smoother and better and easier to implement into your life. The Sony is really good. In some cases it even looks better, but dual pixel autofocus is still probably the king. It's just, it has the slight edge, and what takes it over is just that tap and track. It's so easy to just tap and track. What are you gonna tap with no fully articulating screen? You're gonna reach around like, "Hun, am I getting it? Am I getting it, hun?" I tapped on the monkey. There's no details in the monkey, he's in a tree. Damn you, Canon. So the Canon just has a little more confidence in the autofocus, and it's easier to do with that touch screen. It's just better. There's no lag on the screen. It's slightly better. The last reason to buy the Canon over the Sony is Canon actually has a 4K time lapse feature, which could be handy. It could be good. Even though you could just probably film a Sony 4K thing and slow it down. Some people prefer the time lapse for some reason. I haven't really looked into it much, but it seems like a nice little feature to have if you want to get a sunset and the clouds going by, magical shit. It's like the 4K time lapse and it'll make a little video. Sony does not have that. So if that's important to you, a lot of vloggers do that. They put a little time lapse, everybody's copying Casey Neistat. Why don't you go copy yourself on a photocopy machine and mail it to the president? So for me, I'm thinking of upgrading to one of these, but I'm gonna wait. I wanna see what Canon's full frame mirrorless is gonna be like. I wanna see what their A7S III is like. So we got those two on the horizon, because really both of these aren't perfect. Canon could do so much better. If they gave us a 6D2 type of thing in a full frame mirrorless, but just a little better codec, they don't even need to give me 4K. I don't even need it. Just a good 1080p, like that C100 1080p full sensor readout. Give me that in a little mirrorless with a flippy screen, and somehow sneak in stabilization in there. We got yourself a winner. And will the Sony A7S III have a flip out screen? That's all I want. If that happens, then we may have a Sony fanboy on our hands. But for now, we stick with the Panasonic. It's okay. It gets us by. Kind of. If I'm being honest here, say I win a contest and I get to choose the Sony A7 III or the Canon, I probably still go with the Sony. I didn't even convince myself with all these bullshit lies. It's just better. I would get a little monitor, a little 5-inch monitor on top, and we're good to go. So unless I was hand holding, that was gonna be one of my other things. The Canon is somewhat not heavy, but it's heavy as shit. When I initially looked, the Sony A7 III was 650 grams and the Canon 685. So I was like, well, that's only a little bit more heavy. But that's a lie. That's a filthy lie. B&H is not reporting. That's without the battery for some reason. So when you actually look into it, it's 765 with the battery. So that, now you're pushing it. You're pushing it. You're fat, Canon. I was gonna say when you factor in the lenses, then it evens out, but actually all the 3 Sony lenses are lighter than the 3 Canon lenses I compared them to, so. You suck, Canon. So I think we're done here. Hopefully I eased your mind. If you already bought a 6D Mark II, it's a good camera. I've considered buying it. I almost considered buying it. I'm not gonna buy it, but if I won it for free, I would accept it. I wouldn't throw it away. It's a decent camera for filming yourself. You don't need all the detail in your face. So it's a good camera. Be happy you got it. And picture-wise, pretty decent. Not the best dynamic range. The dark shadows will remain a mystery. But it's a decent camera. So I think we're done here today. Which one would you choose? And which camera are you looking forward to? The Canon mirrorless full frame or the Sony A7 III? Who will win that battle? Sony A7S III will have the better specs most likely, but Canon may bring that usability factor. And if Sony doesn't flip out that screen, I will send cockroaches to destroy their factory. So we're done. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.